board here. You want clients so desperately, but you have a problem. And the problem is that you hate feeling salesy. I hate being salesy. I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to be pushy. It's a really common problem for a lot of coaches starting out. And what I'm going to do today, if you will stay with me till the end, I'm going to give you breakthrough in this area because we never do fluff on our Mentor Mondays. I will never do a fluffy workshop. I don't care if something is called free. We will never do fluffy, and we will never upsell you and pretend like we're going to give you something later that we won't give you. We're going to deliver it today. So just stay with me, okay? So here's the thing is these are the comments. These are kind of what I would say are the belief systems, the mantras that we're speaking over ourselves every day, that we are speaking in agreement with every day. And one thing that I can tell you about all of you who live in these places, that you mostly live in this world of saying, I hate selling. I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to be salesy. Here's one thing that I can say for every coach that I've ever met that live in these places. You are doing a really good job of not selling, and you probably don't have clients, or at least you don't have a fraction of them that you really deserve. And there's a really good reason why. And I don't want you to think that that's offensive, but I want you to understand how we're wired. We are always wired with a target in mind. Your mind, in the way that we function, because we actually have control over what we think and we have control of our emotions and everything else. Some of us don't think that we do, but we actually do. What we say and what we focus on and what we believe and put out there actually does give us exactly what we want. And so when you say, I hate selling, and you say, I don't want, and these kinds of things, you know what your brain does? It delivers what you want. And so what you end up having is that you have this guy. I never can draw these. Oh, look, I actually did a halfway decent job. You have this guy with a brain, and the brain and the body are all going to do your bidding, whatever the mind tells it. So when you say these things, you know what your body and everything else is going to do? It is going to shut down. Matter of fact, it's actually scientific that literally on a DNA level, you feel everything shut down. You feel shut down when it comes to having to have that conversation. You might have even had that first complimentary session and you couldn't bring it. It was literally like you're trying to overcome your physical body, because your physical body will get involved. You were trying to overcome your physical body, and you couldn't even bring the words to your mouth to ask them if they wanted to become a client. This is what's going on in you. Am I right? You can comment. Let me know. Am I right? Is this kind of accurate to what you are feeling? And here's the reason why. It's because this is what you've created as your target. If this is where you are living with your belief systems and your thoughts and all of those other things, here's what I would say for you. If you don't have clients and you can't bring yourself to actually get someone to commit, ask them to commit into a coaching relationship, it's brilliant. You're brilliant. You're amazing. You know why? Because it means that all of this system is doing what it's designed to do. And if you're that good at not getting clients because you live here, then what it means is that you're actually getting what you truly want. And we're going to help you change that, because you guys also have another thing going on. And it's this, is that in all of this, you still say this, I need clients. Okay? So do we understand where things are kind of off here? I hate selling, but I need clients. They're actually in conflict. And here's where the conflict actually comes from. I'm going to show you where the conflict comes from, okay? And you're going to learn something, and it's going to be amazing. All right, so one of the things that we have going on in our life every day, and it's hidden it's hidden deep down in you, but you don't really think about it every day. Matter of fact, most of you have probably never written down your personal values. And when I say values, I would say this is how I'm going to live out life. And it's not only the how I'm going to do life. It's not your why. It's the how you do it. But your values are composed of things that are important to you. And so I'd say that most coaches and most of you who have this conflict that's going on in your life, and it really is a conflict, you have values that are like this. You have a value for authenticity, okay? Really? Okay. You have a value for integrity. What else do you have a value for? You have a value for autonomy, meaning that, you know, you want to make your own choices. You want other people to feel freedom to make their own choices. You have a value for helping in many cases. And maybe it's just helping, and maybe it's like contribution, you know, you're contributing to people. You have a value for serving. These are really, really good things. Here's another one. You have a value for meaningful work. These are the reasons why people start coaching, is that they want meaning and they want purpose and they want all of these things. The problem is right now is that you feel a conflict in your values because what some of you believe, because there's another side of this. There's a negative side. And what I would say is these values help us really pursue and be in alignment to go and get things. And the other kinds of things on the other side actually prevent us from going after certain things. Here's what you are against. You are against manipulation. You are against coercion. What's coercion? Well, it's the opposite of autonomy. It's taking people's freedom away, freedom to choose away. You are against deception. And so what you're feeling every day, because of the way that you have believed about selling and all of this other kinds of stuff, is that somehow in all of this, you're feeling the conflict because you're like, oh, well, this is coming against my integrity, this deception. If I try to sell, it's deceiving people. And so now I'm less authentic. And you know what? Coercion, it's coming against my autonomy. And see, manipulation, it's like all of these things. And so you've got a really big mess. This is your conflict. This is why you can't sell coaching. And it's why your body is shutting down, literally shutting down in the moments, because you know you need clients, right? But you're not doing it because you feel all of this conflict going on, because you feel like, because I'm doing this, I'm manipulating people. I'm coercing them. I'm deceiving them in some kind of a way. And this is where we've got to go. Really quick. Let me show you something. If you try to go against your values, if you try to go against what you really believe is right and your sense of how, what you're going to end up in is you're going to end up in struggle. You're going to end up hating your life. If you can even do it for very long, and most people can't do it, and even if they do, they hate their life. They feel very unsatisfied. And so that's why we can't go against our values. What we really need to do is we need to come into an alignment. Because the conflict that's going on here is actually keeping you from doing what you're made to do. It's keeping you from doing what you want to do. So how do we resolve this? Well, there's three things that we're really going to do here. The first thing that we're going to have to do is that we're going to have to redefine what you believe is selling. And some of you right now wrongly believe, and here's what we would say are the wrong beliefs. Right now, your wrong belief is that selling is manipulation, that selling is coercion, or that you believe that selling is deception. Well, we've got to switch this because it really isn't. Here's the thing. Let's define these terms really quickly, and then we're going to really talk about what it is. Manipulation means that I am going to create something that doesn't benefit the other person, that it only benefits me. That is the heart of manipulation. I don't care what happens to this other person. It is all about me. It's all about me getting paid. It's all about me getting what I want. It's not about what they want. And here's what I would say, is that if you're struggling with all of this stuff, you do not actually have a problem with manipulation at all. That's not who you are. And you don't have to become that. Because in anything that we do, it's always got to be a win-win, right? How do we make this a win-win? How do I serve this person and it benefits both of us? Coercion. What is coercion? It is taking people's free will, their choices away, and that's against your value. Well, we're not trying to take people's choices away. Matter of fact, we're actually trying to give people permission. That's what coaching is. We're not telling people what to do with their life. We're trying to get them to own their life, give them permission, call out the greatness in them, those kinds of things. So it's not coercion, and it's also not deception either. What deception is that when you try to sell a product or when you try to give somebody something and you're acting like it's better than what it really is. And here's what I do. When it's coming down to coaching or anything that we do, I can never guarantee results for people. I can never guarantee that something's going to fix them or fix their problems or have a solution. You know why? Because coaching's a two-way street. When if anybody asks me, Paul, can you guarantee results? I'd say absolutely not, because I can't control you, because this isn't manipulation and it's not coercion or anything. This is you showing up, packing a lunch to do hard work on things that you've wanted to get change in your life. But here's what I can tell you. You know what helps me stay into authenticity? Here's what I can tell you, because the only thing that a coach can guarantee is this. I can guarantee that I am going to show up on time every day, completely dialed in to what your needs and what your desires are. That I will be sensitive to what motivates you, what brings the best. I will never be judgmental, but I will bring the best out of you, and I will hold you accountable for what you want in your life. You can count on the fact that I will not allow you to be stuck, and I will not allow you to hide from your greatness. These are things I will bring to the table every time that we meet. But I need you to meet me in that place and be ready to be accountable, to actually follow through with what you say that you want and to go after this thing. And so these are the things that we can guarantee. And there's nothing that's deceptive about that at all. What we're really talking about in all of this stuff is that we are trying to persuade. Let me put an R in there. We're trying to persuade. Persuasion really is selling, and you do it all the time. You do it every day of your life, and the way that you dress, and the way that you talk, the words that you choose, all kinds of different things. There's nothing wrong with persuading people, because we're not trying to manipulate, coerce, or deceive anybody. We're trying to help them get what they want. This is what we're really after. Let me give you an example. I have 3 daughters. They are amazing, beautiful, incredible, all incredibly different. I am going to turn 45 this year. So for those of you who think that I'm a spring chicken, I'm not. I'm going to turn 45 this year. Our oldest is about to turn 22. We have a 15-year-old daughter, and we have a 6-year-old that's going on like 21 or something like that. And they're all amazing. But we've always had little mini crises throughout their life when they thought, I'm not good enough. I'm stupid. I can't do this. There's all of this stuff that comes up, whether it be doing math homework or whatever. No one likes me. It's one of those situations. Now, what do we do as parents? We get down with them. We at least are understanding of what they feel like, but we are not going to validate the feeling because it's not true. And so what will we do? We will persuade them. And we will say, you are one of the smartest kids that I know. You're so responsible. We'll say all of these things. Are we manipulating? No. Are we coercing? Are we deceiving them? Because I will never lie to my kids. I'm sure that you've never lied to your kids. Well, for some of you who do the tooth fairy and all of these other kinds of things, maybe. But outside of that, what we always were trying to do, and anything that we do in persuasion, is to get people what they want. Let me get you out of the crappy state that you are in and help you get what you want. That is the art of what we are doing. And so when it comes down to selling, your services, this is what it's really about. I want to persuade this person for them to get what they want. And you know what? I never sell anything to anyone that they don't want. And I never even try to talk someone into doing something that and listen, you guys all have a gut about you, okay? The gut has to tell you what level, and we do a lot of pre-qualifying questions and those kinds of things. I've talked to you guys about that before. But if I don't sense that there's an urgency, that there really is a time for those people to step into what they are made for and all those other things, I'm not going to sell it. I'll push that thing down the road and hey, you know what? Don't think that you're ready right now, but maybe 90 days from now, maybe 6 months from now, we'll keep tabs on each other, whatever. I will use my gut. Now, I'm not going to be afraid of selling something. I'm not going to be afraid of persuading, because the reality is that your values are out of alignment. This is really important. So if I'm losing anybody, reel back in. If you will not persuade people, then it also means that your values are out of alignment over here. Because it means that if I'm not willing to persuade someone to get what they want, it means that I am not going to ever help or contribute. Right? Because a big part of us actually helping people is persuading them towards what would be most beneficial for them. Right? I will never really serve if there's never persuasion in my life. I will never serve. I'll be shut down. And I will never live into a meaningful life. So you know what this means is that I'll be completely incongruent in everything that I do. And you guys are already struggling. Some of you are working regular jobs and you're trying to break into coaching. You feel that resistance all the time. Well, we don't have to feel resistance when it comes to selling what we're doing, because this is the wrong view. And here's the other big wrong view. If you guys didn't get this. If you want to make one of the best switches that you can make right now, because let me show you the other problem. See, on this end, the focus is way too much on you. If you can, now how do we switch this thing? Because we did some changes, in the way we're thinking. One of the huge switches that you're going to have to make is that because all of this is self-focused. All of this stuff about how are people going to perceive me and all of this other stuff, it's the wrong focus, because you're so busy focused on yourself that you can't see the opportunities that are coming around you every given moment. And it also means that we're probably going to miss actually helping people, because we're so afraid of being pushy. We're afraid to ask people to do things that are uncomfortable. Listen, if you're going to be an amazing coach, you need to get comfortable with pushing people to do what's uncomfortable, because the comfort zone's killing people. If you want to be truly authentic and have integrity and you want to serve and do meaningful stuff, then you have got to get defiant. You need to get angry. You need to not hate worrying about all of this junk. You need to hate the fact that people are missing out on their destiny every day. That people are dying in this planet that could have had help if someone would have lived into what they were made for. For every person who is frustrated with what they're seeing in government or whatever, there are amazing people who stayed in the comfort zone and weren't willing to take on blistering attacks or take the heat to do what they needed to do. That's what should really get us angry. Those are the things where if we want to have a focus of frustration and pain, then that's where it needs to be focused. The fact that right now I'm not living into my destiny, and it means that other people are not living into their destiny, and it can't be okay anymore. The mediocrity in my life cannot be tolerated anymore, and it needs to be a higher level of pain than anything else. When I see other people who are brilliant and they don't even know it, that they are living in mediocrity or living under a ceiling, I want to set those people free. And it's something that's got to become the primary focus as we go out. It's like every day I have the opportunity to speak life into people and to bring them out of wherever they're at. And I don't just do this. See the whole selling and persuading thing? I don't just do this with people that I'm trying to get to become clients. I do this every day. When I'm standing in line and there's a cashier there. When I'm getting a meal, it doesn't matter where I'm at. This is such a part of what I do, because serving and doing something meaningful doesn't happen only when I get a client. It means that it's everything that I do. So the focus has to be, let's switch the focus on a couple of things here, okay? One thing that I always tell our coaches is that we are in, and I'm going to move this so it's out of the way, okay? We are not selling a product in the same way that other people sell product. Come on, this is supposed to be expensive paper. It's the Post-it stuff. We're going to have to understand that we are in a relational business, and that everything that we do is about serving. And if you will focus on these things, you will quit selling and you will start selling. So for those of you who don't want to sell and be salesy, that's true. I don't want to either, because we're not trying to hawk a product or a service. What we understand is that coaching is a relationship. So everything that I am doing is to further bring someone one step closer the relationship until one day they become a client, okay? That's what we do. And every day that I am serving, and you know what's happening in all of these things is that we are building trust and we are building likability. Now, I don't want you guys ever telling me that your personality type means that I can't sell. I don't want anybody to tell me any kind of negative reasons why they're not going after their destiny. Let's quit blaming it on things. What we have to do is, instead of saying, I hate selling, maybe we say some other things. Maybe we say some things like, today I get the opportunity to serve people out of my greatest gifting, which is listening and helping people overcome barriers. Maybe that's what we say. Maybe we say, instead of worrying about, I'm afraid of going and meeting people and selling and all this, maybe today what my focus, because it's now on people and it's not on myself, maybe today is I get to walk out of the house and everybody else is looking at themselves and looking at negativity, but I get to look upon the greatness of people, and I am in the greatness business. And today I'll have a conversation that is going to further a relationship so I can completely set people free and I can help them step into what they're made for. Maybe I can say something like, I love persuading people to quit running and hiding from their greatness. I love persuading people to snap out of the comfort zone and to be who they're really made to be. See, these are the things that we have to do, because it's not just, I don't want to just not say this stuff anymore. I need to start speaking life. And you know what you're going to find is that all of this stuff is congruent, because I'm not manipulating, I'm not coercing, I'm not deceiving, I am being authentic, I am being integrous, I am giving people their autonomy, but I am calling people out to greatness. We've got to quit tolerating this stuff in our own life, because the comfort zone is where people die, and they stay there, and it's a miserable existence. And I have to look at that every day in other people's lives. And I look for that. I look for greatness. I call greatness out of people. When I see people doing something that is just a little bit better, that's a little bit past the norm or whatever, I always acknowledge those things, but I'm looking for it. And you know how I look for it? It's because I'm not looking at myself anymore. It's because I don't see myself as sitting around selling what I'm doing, and I'm not in a lack position where I need clients and those kinds of things. What I'm really doing is just authentically being who I am. And you know what happens is that the door opens. And when the door opens, I'm never going to be afraid of asking someone to work with me. You know why? Because they want it. And if they want it, the higher degree that they want it, the higher degree that they are in a pain and desiring something, the higher degree that they are probably going to get extraordinary success, and they just need somebody to walk it out. It's the only way that I can be authentic every day, is to be both of those things. I know what I'm here on the planet to do. It's to help, contribute, it's to serve, and you know what? If I'm not doing it, then shame on me. I'm going to feel the incongruence. But this is how we bring this stuff into alignment. This is how we do it. This is how you shift the mindset towards these things. And hopefully that's helpful. Let me pay the bills really quick, and we're going to go to Q&A. For those of you who have been flirting, no one has pushed you to go after your coaching dreams, that no one's went after you to say, you need to actually do what you're made to do and quit making excuses or whatever. I will be that person. I'm going to persuade you. You know why? Because it's not manipulation, it's not coercion, it's not deception. If you have Googled this thing more than 3 times about coaching, looking into coaching, what does it take? How much money do coaches make? All this other stuff. You've already convinced yourself. You just need to come into alignment and actually do the thing, right? And so our program, when we launched years ago, we used to do live training. It's extraordinarily expensive because you have administrative costs and all those other things. 98% of our students work full time. We launched our program fully online. We pioneered in this area and became the largest life coach training program in North America, and we're also the #1 online program for $195. And it's legit. For any of you who are like, that seems to be a lot more reasonable than other places. Well, what you see is what you get. Watch any of our videos for any length of time, and you will get a lot more than that just in a single video in most cases. $195 is a 10-module online program. You go through and it's on demand. There's no start and end dates. You can enroll today. You can start today. 10 modules that cover the core competencies. There's activities at the end of each one of those modules so that you break into coaching proficiency, and it concludes with an exam. And when you score above 70% on your exam, then you've earned your credential. But we also have a Jumpstart program, and today kind of gives you a taste, and that's what you see as the $97 a month. The Jumpstart program includes a 20-module business development roadmap. Now, what we did in Jumpstart is we include the Life Coach certification course as well. It's bundled with it. But the Jumpstart program is a business development program. We really give you the A to Z on how do you develop your business, how do you discover your target market, how do you discover your niche, how do you sell, how do you answer objections, how would you do a 1-minute pitch, do you know how to brand yourself, all of these things we cover. We show you how to create multiple streams of income, because some of you think that coaching is just one-on-one. That's one way of offering your services, but there's a lot of different ways of offering coaching services. We supplement all of this with a live call every Wednesday where I answer every business-related question and every coaching-related question. We will not allow you to be stuck, so you can get feedback on anything that you're working on. We have an online community where you can role play with other students. You can get feedback on anything that you're working on so that you don't have to make the same mistakes that most coaches make when they are starting out. And for some of you who are thinking, $97 a month, that's a lot of money. It's really not. You're already spending it. For you Starbucks or coffee drinkers, this is $325 a day minimum. Most of you are paying more than $325. That's $325 a day. That's what it is. It's Starbucks for a month. Jumpstart has a 3-month minimum commitment. You do get trained and certified. And we love to walk alongside coaches because we believe in you. I understand what all the mindsets are. I was a person who came from a lot of poverty and a lot of dysfunction and had lost everything. And if I can make it, I think that anybody can. You know, introverted me, who just happens to have a loud voice, who doesn't like meeting people and doesn't like answering the door, if I can do it, I know that anybody can. And we walk alongside people, not only in patience with a lot of sympathy, but we call out your greatness. And it's amazing to be in this community of people who really love and support one another. It's awesome. And so I invite you to be a part of that. Let's look, and you can see a link to that actually in the description today as well. Let me look and check really quick at what other comments that we have in here today, okay? Danielle says, I have never understood the idea of those who work all week in a job they hate to spend a couple of hours on the weekend doing what they most enjoy. Makes zero sense. Yeah, appreciate that. What else? Diamond says, yes, facilitating greatness. That's exactly what we're doing. Jenna says, yes. Lindsay says, word. Star says, I'm working my full-time, my regular job right now. One day I'll be a full-time coach. Excellent. That is awesome. Santos says, this is deep philosophy, deep breathing while watching. Listening to this helps you absorb this deeper into your subconscious. I appreciate that. Lorraine says, wow, you were hitting all the points. This is great. Awesome. Santos says, you do have control. It's correct. And let me give some props out and say hi to a few people on here. Brian, thanks so much for joining us all the way from Georgia. Jennifer says, I'm so thankful for this topic. You are so welcome. Danielle's joined us from San Francisco. Connie joining us from Indianapolis. Excited about the topic. Awesome. And let's see, who else should I say hi to? Believe I might have said hi to everybody who's made comments. Let's do this really, really quickly. Santos says, gracias, you are welcome. Shannon says, great stuff. Do you guys have any, if you just want to say hi, say hi. If you have any questions about this topic or whatever that I can follow up with, I want to give a few minutes for a little bit of Q&A. But if you just want to say hi, do me a huge favor, like this post or comment it, because it allows other people to see it. It's just kind of the way the Facebook algorithm works. If this has been helpful at all, you see any benefit out of it for you or other people, you can share it. But at the very least, if you could just like it or comment, that would be hugely helpful. Connie says, I'm not ready to coach yet, but what is the best approach to reaching out to a potential client? It really depends on what level you are at that. I mean, obviously, I don't know what steps you are as far as that stuff is concerned. I would really have to look at what you're doing. Now, let's say, assuming that you have all of your messaging and your branding together, and that's the first part. The second part is that you've got to find out where your potential client is. If you guys are going to be online coaches or whatever, or you're going to use social media or your website to get people, these people exist somewhere right now. And we have the most powerful tools that we have ever had to find communities of people, to find people where they are at to begin. The big thing is, and this is where most coaches miss it, and I watch people's Instagrams and I watch their like pages and I see them doing extremes of selling. One is completely non-selling. I watched the most painful videos this past week of people who are trying to explain coaching and they were non-selling through the entire thing. I see it all the time. And it hurts my feelings because I know that these people can probably be great, but they're so afraid of these things and trying to be authentic and all this other stuff that they confuse people and they don't actually sell. And so the extremes of those people is non-selling, and the other extreme that I see on social media and everything else is that all people do is sell. The key is relationship and serving people. So where your initiation of these things are going to happen, whether you join a local networking group or you do this through social media and your website and everything else, is that the keys are going to be being relational and serving. You'll notice that even on our social media and the stuff that we do, we have a balance of all of those things. Do I help people? I'm always serving people. I'm always asking questions every day. How can I serve people? But I also, you guys find out weird things that we're into. You see pictures of my family. You see those kinds of things. What is that? Why is that important? It's important because people need to get a sense of who you are. They want you've got to be trustworthy and you've got to be likable. That's how we cover these areas of authenticity and integrity. It's not just all about business. Listen, we have a lot of irons in the fire. We have a lot of different things going on in our life. And so where we're wanting to start to initiate anything that we do with people is going to come through these parts, because my goal is to build trust and build likability. And the third thing is, obviously, is I'm going to show a certain level of expertise along the way. But these are most of it. That's your primary deal. So wherever you find yourself, you need to have things in order. Like one of the examples that I've always given, if you join a networking group today in your local area, you know, one of the things that I always see in networking groups is that no one ever knows what's going on, and communication's a disaster. And so what I'll tell our coaches to do is like, hey, join a networking group and offer to take care of the communications for the group. Does that have anything to do with coaching? No, but it's serving, it's helping, it's contributing, and I'm building relationship and I'm serving the whole group. Why? Because I'm doing something that nobody else wants to do in many cases. And you know what happens is that I suddenly become the person that everybody needs to know, that needs to connect with, because I am the person who's in the know. And you have everybody's email address, you have everybody's phone number, and you have a reason to contact them. And what happens is that long before you ever showed expertise as a coach, trust and likability began to get you there. But find the right groups, and you'll have to investigate things to try to figure out, the more you define who your target market is and how you're trying to help people, the easier it will be to find it. So start with your messaging, and then secondly, look for the places where people are at. So hopefully that's helpful. Albert says, Paul, once the attention of an individual is caught, it is easier to persuade. As to our children, who are our captive audience, but how do you capture the potential client? Well, I just answered that. This is it. The culture of who you are as an individual is what captures people, because no one wants to be sold, do they? No one wants to deal with just salespeople who don't care about them and any of these other things. And so the people who try to operate in the coaching world in that kind of way, or purely in an intellectual way through their expertise, are not going to capture anyone. Because what captures, let's just answer the question. Write down a piece of paper, get out on a piece of paper and write down on it everything that captures you relationally. What captures people on social media and all of these other places where people are at? Well, you can't just sell. Sometimes you ask questions. Sometimes you serve people. You get in a conversation with people. You celebrate success. Sometimes it's weird stuff, quite frankly, that actually connects us with people. Affinity, those kinds of things. Like we're both into basketball. We're both into these kinds of things. This is what captures people, because I'm interested in capturing people's hearts, not their wallets. But here's the funny thing, is that if you'll capture people's hearts, ultimately they will be paying for your service. That's the funny irony about the whole thing, is that what you win people with is what you win them to. So if you win them with a relationship and trust and likability in that kind of way, you will have a long relationship and it will be dynamic and transformational. But if you'll only win them with your expertise, then let's say that you did, and it's really hard to do, but let's say that you did, it's kind of like working with a surgeon, right? My surgeon, I don't have to like them, right? I just want to make sure that I have somebody, if I go under the knife, that I don't die. But I don't want to see this person ever again, and I don't want to go to dinner with them or anything else. But see, that's a once-in-a-lifetime kind of thing, hopefully, if we have to go under the knife. And you know what? If I don't have to go under the knife, then I'm never going to see that person. That's the only time when expertise seems to win out, is when it's a life or death situation and you're about to lose everything. That's the only time that relationship doesn't really matter. But it does matter in everything that we do, because these people are willingly, because it's about autonomy, they're willingly coming to us and wanting something new in their life. So hopefully that's helpful. Any other questions? I'm going to ask you again. Go ahead and hit me, give us some likes, some comments, some hearts or whatever, or share this to anybody that you think that could find this helpful. Barbara says, I was told to join groups to grow your coaching business. That's an excellent idea. Yeah, I definitely go for that. Let's see. Albert says, very good points. I'm grateful for your response. You're welcome. All right, let me see if there's any other questions that I see in here. Diamond says, question, how do you move past feeling inauthentic trying to sell your services? I'm so happy to help people and give support and love. It comes naturally, but selling myself is hard. But that is selling yourself. That's the whole point. If you will do these things, you are selling yourself, because it's not fake. You're right now loving people and helping people and not getting paid for it. That's the most authentic thing in the world. It doesn't make it inauthentic, by the way, because you get paid for it. It actually is because there is a perceived value that you see in yourself, and you want to be in a place to be able to help more people. And that requires money to be able to do it. So selling yourself, again, when you make the focus on yourself, it's going to be hard to sell yourself. I'm just going to get rid of that thing. Let me put this back up here. The focus here. So I'm literally calling it out based on the question that you just said. Focus, right here. Client, potential client. That's the focus. And if that's the focus, then I'm going to sell myself, because I'm going to be so into, every day I ask the question, how can I serve my clients and how can I serve our coaches? What do they need? What can I better serve them? What barriers are in the way that are keeping them from what they want? All of those things. I literally ask those questions every day. I pray prayers for my coaches and for my clients, because I am all in, and it is so much about helping them become who they're made to be and all of those other kinds of things. I live and I breathe that every day, because I believe in people's purpose. And I think about that all the time. Anybody who's friends with us, one of the running jokes with me and my wife is that when anybody becomes friends with us, they end up quitting their job. I had another guy quit his job weeks ago, and we didn't even talk to him about quitting his job. We were like, why did you quit your job? He's like, I've been saving money. I realize that I'm not doing my thing, and I need to do my thing. And it's weird how you create a culture around you that's like that. But when you call people up, when you honor them, when you value them, when you add value to them, truly, there's courage that starts getting released, and people are ready to go and do the thing. And of course, you're the person whose number that they pick to help them. And so these are the important things, is that if the focus stays here, not on my limitations, my focus is, here's what I want to do. My focus is, I love people, I want to help them, I want to serve them. That really is my intent, and this is where my eyes are always drawn. I always tell my coaches, if you will extend your hand to help people, it will never be empty. Be that person. Don't be afraid of being that person. And when I say it will never be empty, it's not just people giving you problems, it's that financially you will be taken care of. Let's believe that we will be rewarded for how we go out and serve and just truly loving people. But we have to not be afraid of actually asking people to come into a relationship. Because if you will not push them to that level, they will have no accountability and they will sit where they are. It's not okay just to kind of want something. You got to want something and have an outcome and a plan for it, and you need accountability for it. And that's what most people are missing. So hopefully that was helpful. Let's see. What other questions? I see Clint in there. Thanks, Clint. Appreciate that. And Clint's joining us from Jacksonville. That's a great little town. And I used to live in Orlando. Jacksonville is such a cool little town that has a professional football team. It's a really cool place. All right. What other questions are we seeing here? Let's see. All right. Romeo says, I'm helping people that cannot pay, but my church is paying me a salary to do that. I'm doing good, but since it is free, people in need get engaged in changing. I'm kind of stuck with free clients for now, to selling clients with potential to pay. What would be my specialty to such a client? Too crowded with my current free clients, but I should move to paid ones. Kind of stuck. It's going to be that bold decision. Because when something's paying the bills, it's easy to sit there in the comfort zone. But just like you demonstrated, and this is what all of you need to know, free coaching never helps anybody. Free clients the reason why free coaching doesn't help people is that when people don't invest in their own change, they don't want something. I'll give you an example. And this is a stupid example, but I'll give you an example I was actually thinking about this morning. Let's imagine that you had a crappy TV. It's a 21-inch TV, and it's standard definition, and it's the big tube. It's the boob tube. But you love sports. Or let's imagine not you, but your friend. Your friend loves sports, and they're tired of watching, and the TV's unpredictable, and it's unclear and everything else. And they're like, man, I just wish I had a high definition, an ultra HD TV to watch sports on. And you have one. You're like, hey, you know what? The big game's this weekend, man. What if I brought my TV over and we'll hook it up? Okay, you hook it up. You bring your 65-inch Ultra HD. You love it. You're high-fiving. It was a lot of fun. That was great one time. Next week, your friend's like, hey, you know what? There's another game coming up. It's baseball season now. Do you want to watch this game? Oh, yeah, I'd like to watch the game. Well, would you bring your TV over so that we can watch it? That was really cool. And then now you're just dragging your TV every time. And the burden is all on you. There's no commitment. See, what has to happen is at a certain point, people have to go across that threshold and actually say what they want and commit to it and be all in. And until they will, it's a spiritual principle. The heart is where transformation happens, and the heart's connected to the wallet. I can't change that. What people will invest in is what they value most. And I don't want to be someone's side money, because I'll be the first thing that they cut out in their life. And so what I'd say to you, Romeo, is that you'll have to, at a certain point, decide what is the greater payoff. Is it staying comfortable where you're at? And this is not a judgmental thing that I'm saying at all. So everybody hear this when I'm saying this. At a certain point, there's a payoff right now of things that the job right now is giving you, for all of you. Some of those things are comfort. Some of those things that, I don't have, it's security. But over here, what you're not getting is, in many cases, destiny. You're not seeing the transformation that you thought that you should be seeing. All of this other stuff. At a certain point, this has to become more painful than losing this. That's what it really comes down to. There has to be a shift in your heart towards those things. And I'm never going to make a recommendation to people, say, oh, you need to quit this or whatever. I mean, like, my story was, I was working a full-time job, and I did all of my coaching on the side. Now, I had to have my full-time job because back then there was an Obamacare. And for those of you outside the United States, Obamacare was basically if you had a pre-existing condition, you could not get insurance, and it was very expensive. My wife had all that. No one was going to insure. But if you're working for someone, they have to give you insurance and provide it for everyone. You don't get pre-existing conditions in those scenarios. So I had to have a regular job and all those other kinds of things. And so I worked my way so that I still had my family as number one priority. I was still a great employee. And then I did coaching on the side until that thing built up where I could go full time. And understanding that at a certain point, then this stuff started really like grating on me. And it was like, I have got to get full time in this. And I also realized that I would make more money in a day, in an hour, than I would make in a whole day. If I went and coached for a day, I would make more money than I would make in 2 weeks of my regular job. And so then it was kind of like, wow, if I could just get more than 10 hours a month in this thing, I think that we could break free. And at that point, you know what I did is I made sure that I got rid of any debt that we had. We downsized. I got rid of certain things that, it meant that I was getting rid of cable and some other kinds of things, whatever I was getting rid of at the time, to limit what we were paying for. And then I went all in after what I wanted. And actually when I did, I mean, within a month, I had all of that income back, which was amazing. But you need to know your timing, and you need to, the biggest thing is never living in fear, never making a decision out of fear or out of anxiety or out of lack. Doing things out of boldness, and knowing that if something's a little bit uncomfortable does not mean that you're not supposed to do it. It just means that what is more uncomfortable? Living where you're at, doing what you're doing, or living without your destiny. That's what it's really going to come down to ultimately. And there's a way right now to do things until you get to your releasing stage, which means that right now there's probably a way to be able to do both. Figure out how you can negotiate those things out and do it. So hopefully that's helpful. All right. Well, lots of great comments and all of those other things. Listen, I appreciate you guys all immensely. It makes my week, and I hope today made your week. I'd still love any kind of follow-up questions or comments or whatever that you can drop in this video. Share it with people that you think that could use it. Also like or love this post or whatever. I want to finish with this before you guys peace out. Today you can enroll and you can get your career started. The Life Coach Certification course is fully online. We've designed it for professionals who have a lot of irons in the fire, but it's not going to set you back. You can you'll make all of your investment back with your first client. I mean, and we do. Our coaches make between $250 to $1,000 a session because we go after all of that mindset stuff so that you can price yourself right. The average first-year coach makes like $118, $128. Ours are doing a lot better because it's all about mindset. And so the Life Coach Certification course, it usually takes at max 30 hours, but we have some students who knock it out in a week. It really depends on what your schedule is. But it's 10 modules covering the core competencies, and each module has an activity to help you practice and put into action what you're learning. It concludes with an exam, and when you score above 70% on the exam, you earn your credential. If you don't pass it the first time, no sweat. You get unlimited retakes at no additional charge. But if you need the business development help, and this is what today really gives you a sense where you actually get me and you get a lot of resources to help you build your practice, then Jumpstart might be the right option for you. Jumpstart does include the Life Coach Certification course, so this is an either or. You either do Jumpstart or you do the Life Coach Certification course by itself. And so if you're thinking, I need the business development help and I want to get certified, don't go with the $195 option. You can start out of pocket, $97. It's a 3-month minimum commitment, a 20-module business development roadmap, the A to Z on how to get your business started with business development tools and all of those things, how to create multiple streams of income, how to develop your branding, how to attract clients, where to find them. All of this stuff is in there. We supplement it with a weekly call. I love our calls because our coaches come in and, we'll do case scenario where people are struggling in a certain area, and we'll help them get breakthrough or get those things out of the way. You won't get stuck. And so we have that call. If you can't make it, we record them. You can send in your questions in ahead of time, and they're recorded. And you have access right now to about 3 years worth of calls right now on the website. We have an online community, so you can role play with one another. You can get feedback on anything that you're working on. And so it's an amazing supportive community. Like, if you can imagine, some of you say, oh, I don't have support to do what I need to do. You have support, and you have amazing people who are taking bold steps. Some of them are terrified, and they go and do their first complimentary session, and they come back and they said, this is what I was made for. It was amazing. And you see everybody rally around and celebrate them. It's amazing. And so I invite you to be a part of that. You can enroll today and be with us. Listen, have a great rest of your week. I appreciate you guys all immensely. Everybody who made it in today. I see a thank you from Jenna. You are so welcome. Thanks for sticking around. And we went in overtime, so I appreciate that. Listen, have a great rest of your week and take care.